What's up, everybody? My name is Bryce, aka DubsNotSubs, and in today's video, we're going to be going over the top 10 fights in anime and manga. Now, I will be showing most of the clips in the anime format, but just know this goes for both of them. So we're going to get into this kind of content. If you do enjoy this kind of stuff, make sure to leave a like and subscribe just to let me know that you guys like this kind of different content like this. I want to switch it up, and I'm just trying new things out. So if you end up enjoying this video, please show some support. Tell me you enjoy it. But without further ado, let's get on to the top 10. Before we enter this video, just know that there's going to be absolutely huge spoiler heads for all these series. For number 10, we have the Wizard King versus Lick. Now, this comes in at a time of the Elf Resurrection arc, and throughout the story, you have a couple fights that you could put on this pedestal as the best fight. Personally, my personal pick would be the Wizard King and Lick. I love this battle the most, but you could also have the Demon and Yuno and Asta. That fight is also really amazing, and you also have the Despair with Yuno and no, not Yuno, it's just Asta and all the Black Knight, or not the Black Knights, the Black Bulls. You also have, what's the other one that I'm trying to think of that's really, oh, Yami versus Lick. But this is the fight that really, in the time of the Elf Resurrection arc, when sometimes in the animation and the anime itself, it gets really, really bad, and it just starts to struggle and pull on a little bit, with just some of the scenes just being really, really ugly, and I really it's hard to watch at certain points with some of the acting and all this. But this fight right here, it's absolutely amazing. It shows that Pierre can do what they want to do when they put the time in. And then again, I think there also was a budgeting thing with Black Clover. They got like a really limited team, so that's probably part of the reason why there's so many problems with Black Clover. But overall, this story and this fight itself is absolutely amazing. Lick versus the Wizard King. When you find out what happens with Lick, the truth behind him, the fight itself is absolutely visually amazing with light magic versus time magic, and it's so cool how the fight ends when he knows what his weakness is. There's so many good things to love about this fight. Oh man, the visuals, the music, the two characters just going all at it in every capacity, full on giant scale battle. The animation is absolutely top tier, and this is one of my favorite scenes in Black Clover, if not my favorite, and that's Black Clover. At number 9, we have Tanjiro and Nezuko versus Ruri from Demon Slayer. And now, this absolutely had to be on the list, especially for a top 10 fight scenes. This is beautifully animated, and let's be honest, Demon Slayer, I mean, it was doing really good. It was really good animated. Good, very, very well animated, but this fight itself put it over the edge in another level. It got it to trend on Twitter, and regardless of whether you think this fight is the best fight, or you think something else is a good fight, or whether it's you don't even like this show at all, you have to give the respect it deserves with this show, because this fight scene is what put it on a map. It's got it selling numbers now outpassing One Piece on sales and sales estimates. It's just skyrocketing. This was a series that, from what I know, was on the edge of cancellation before this anime came out, and I think it would have done definitely better to a point where it probably could continue. But without Tanjiro versus Rui, like this fight here, this wouldn't be in the same position that it is. It is so well animated. The music itself is so good. Ufotable blows it out of the water so well, and they do an absolutely fantastic job with this. It's 100% amazing. One of the best scenes from last year. Whatever you have to say, whether you say it's overrated or not, there's a reason people loved it. And Ufotable, from what I know, stole a bunch of money from people. I forgot what they did exactly, but it was something about over budgeting and taking charity money or something like that. Don't quote me on this. I could be wrong, but I heard something like that. So I mean, it better be really well done if you're gonna steal money like that. But anyway, that is Tanjiro and Nezuko versus Rui. At number 8, we have Askeladd versus the King / the Kingdom. Now, this is coming at an absolutely fantastic of a climactic end of the initial arc of Vinland Saga, and honestly, in my opinion, it wasn't my favorite arc just because of the fact that I really couldn't stand Thorfinn. He was a very one-sided and one-dimensional character at the beginning, but that's how he was designed, and that was his whole purpose, so I get it, but personally for me, he became very annoying and just wasn't my thing. Askeladd, however, was the best part of that story. He is what had me continuing to read, and seeing this done in the manga was absolutely amazing. Watching this final fight where excuse me, where askeladd finally reveals to everyone who he truly is as a child of Wales and of a slave who had a child from the king. It's a lot of things that go into it. So if you don't really know what's going on, I don't want to like go too far into it, but revealing himself as he calls himself the King of Britannia and the true rightful king of the area that this whole war had been going on for, and then the climactic thing of him chopping off the king's head, him fighting the entire Danes in this final fight where there's huge turning points where Thorfinn and Prince Canute, where they both had to choose their own path and they both had to progress, and Thorfinn's biggest problem, and the biggest problem I had with him, finally had to be faced, which is, what are you going to do after he dies? And it's so cool how they ended this fight with with Thorfinn not being able to actually end askeladd. This ended up becoming a fantastic scene. It was amazingly well animated too. Mappa did a fantastic job, but it's hard to beat the Vinland Saga manga. Yuri Kimura is a fantastic mangaka. He is a fantastic drawer, writer. It was amazing in every aspect, and this is the best fight that's been there so far in the Vinland Saga that I've read and that I've seen. It is absolutely amazing, and I think a lot of you guys would agree. This is just so good. Vinland Saga was such a good anime, and it's such a good manga, and this fight encompasses the best of this series in the best way possible, from the visuals to just the emotions that come into this fight to the final fight itself. Prince Canute and askeladd finally finding this amazing character development, although Prince Canute had a lot of character development before that, but Thorfinn especially finally facing this big question that I've been waiting for him to face this whole time, but that is askeladd versus the king. Okay, guys, you might be wondering, like, what the heck are you doing here, Bryce? We're supposed to be on our top 10 list. Well, we still are in that top 10 list, but due to some copyright stuff, I can't show every video fight that's on here. I will probably get a copyright strike, and I'm not gonna get my channel taken down for a top 10 video. So for the videos that I can't show, I'm just gonna straight up put myself on it. I'm gonna talk about it, and I'll try to show some way to show you guys the fight in some way that doesn't get me taken down. But let's continue on with the list. Okay, for number 7, I wanted to include a fight on this list that wasn't some big action shonen fight. I wanted to involve a fight that was just more of emotional, real, slice of life, kind of an actual like physical fist fight. And for that, I decided to go with a silent voice, Shoko versus Shoya. And there's technically versus because it is a fight in a way, but overall I just really want to include this because it is very memorable for me personally, and I think a lot of other people. There's just a lot of emotions that go into this fight, and just to know kind of the bad things that happen and the struggles that people who have these kind of handicaps might have to face in their life, and something that we can never, or like I can't personally understand, or a lot of other people can't understand who don't have this, but it brings it to light in such a painful way, and it's just to remember to just be nice to people. And it's just one of those fights that aren't there to just shove in your face big action punches, action fight. It's a fight that shows the dark side of humanity. It's not a action-packed, crazy, over-the-top fight. It's what it does, and what it's supposed to convey is absolutely, it does it in an amazing way. The music, the visuals, everything is amazing. Both the anime and the manga do a fantastic job of showing what this manga and what this fight is supposed, not the manga, what the fight's supposed to portray, how the two characters interact. You have Shoko, wow, I just combined both their names like 3 times. Like, Shoko, basically, just when she's just has that the voice, when she's just screaming out, I'm trying to do my best, but it's in that messed up way of, it's not really audible, and you can't really tell what she's actually saying, and it's just super depressing, and it's just such an iconic fight in the way that it's burned into your memory, and it's not a fight that's to be celebrated like, oh yeah, it's an awesome fight. It's just a fight to remember that I can't forget. And if we're talking about top 10, top 10 fights make it sound like, yes, it's kind of like, makes it sound really messed up. But I wanted to include something that was more of a serious fight with something, a real message behind it than a lot of these other fights, which are fantastic in their own right. But I think this fight is very memorable, and I think it is one of the best fights for what it's conveying. Now that I got you guys all depressed, for number 6, we're going to get back into big action shonen fights. Yes, what we're all hoping for, to not get depressed and all this. But for number 6, we're going to go with Escanor versus Golland in 7 Deadly Sins. Now, there's a lot of fights in 7 Deadly Sins that are absolutely fantastic and absolutely amazing. Now, I've only seen up to Season 2 of the anime, so, I know, Season 4, whatever the current is. I think there's 3 seasons, but there's like that weird 4-episode one that counts as a season, but whatever the current season of 7 Deadly Sins is that's out, that's not the one on Netflix, so not the newer one with the new studio, but the ones that are in English right now, I have seen, so that's what I'm basing this off of. So there's a lot of fights in there that are still very, very good, but let's be honest, Escanor changed this entire show. People freaked out when she was there. It was already super popular, but once Escanor showed up, people flipped. Everybody loves Escanor. People talk about how he's the best character in the entire show, so I had to put him on here, and what better fight than the one that introduced them all when the Ten Commandments first get introduced, and you have Golland and the other girl who's, I forgot what her name is, but she's another one in the Ten Commandments. Basically, those two kind of fight together, so you can put the fight into one, but mainly I want to point out the Golland part of it. But we're gonna get technical. If we're gonna get technical, they're both technically kind of the same fight, because she's there too, and he defeats both of them. So if we can include both of them. Why not? It's my top 10 list. I can do what I want. So we're gonna have both of those, I guess. But basically, Golland introduces the Ten Commandments in such a fantastic way of showing what the kind of special power they have with the conditions they set, and what happens if you break those conditions, like Golland's is the lie. So when he does in the fight, he gets Escanor to promise not to run away in the fight, but at the end you see Golland actually runs away because of the overwhelming power that Escanor has, and it shows that he turns to stone, and it shows that there are repercussions to people who make a promise for him, because he is the 10th commandment of thou shalt not lie. And so each one has this kind of their own specific niche or like gimmick that they each have that hurts people and helps people, but the way it introduces in this fight is so cool. But it's basically Escanor shows how strong Escanor is, and introduces how his power concept works when they show Merlin, when they show Merlin talking about how he gets more powerful the longer the fight goes on. They show the overwhelming power with this, like, how gigantic he is, like, going down a slam on Golland. It's so fantastic. The fight is so cool, and it's such a good introduction to Escanor. So that is number 6. For number 5, we have Fooly Cooly, the final battle, and we're here for a third one. So as you can see which companies really don't want you to see their fight, even though it's all on YouTube anyway, and that's where I got all my clips from, but we're not going to talk about that. Anyway, we're going to talk about Takkun versus Haruko, which basically, or like just kind of the final fight in general, basically, when Takkun finally gets his ultimate power, or gets the Pirate King's power, and it also is a lot of progression of Takkun finally owning up to what he believes and what he believes, and his true feelings towards Haruko, and what happens kind of before when you see Minami and he like freaks out on her, and like how he feels kind of entitled and he kind of gets slapped down from that, and just get to see the final battle itself is visually amazing. And I kind of think, in my opinion, Fooly Cooly overall is a little bit overrated. I'm sorry, but it's just, in my opinion, it's a lot over the top. It's just feels very over the top for no reason for most of this stuff, and it just is so wacky and out of there that it kind of pulls away from the story, in my opinion. But overall, I did enjoy it. It is my favorite Gainax. That's Trigger Work. I don't know if they're the same company or if they're different companies. I think they're different companies, but I don't know if they're like the same people that do it. I don't exactly know the whole thing behind that, but it's fantastic. I've only been reading manga and watching anime for like a year now, so cut me some slack. I'm still learning the names of like manga still, but it's absolutely a fantastic fight. The visuals are amazing. I think music in the background is absolutely epic. It's such a cool fight, and I love it to the end. It's my favorite part of Fooly Cooly. It brings the best part of Fooly Cooly into one final battle, and it was really, really cool to watch it in. And it wraps up pretty nicely, and I do enjoy the ending, and the final battle brings it to such a fantastic end. So that is Fooly Cooly. For number 4, we have Kakashi, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura versus Zabuza and Haku, or Kakashi and Team 7 battling them. And this battle itself is absolutely amazing. Now, there are a lot of good battle scenes in Naruto, but I have not actually seen Naruto Shippuden. I'm a little behind. It's a lot to catch up on. I've been busy with a lot of other anime, and I do plan to watch Shippuden or read it at some point. I need to get to it because I love Naruto itself so much, and I should brace this not, or say this now because I don't think I said it earlier, but I'm only concluding series that I've actually seen because it's kind of hard for me to talk about how great something is or how much and iconic it is for me and how other people could see it if I haven't even seen it myself. So there are probably some series that I did miss on, and I'm sorry about that. But anyway, this fight itself is absolutely amazing. It introduces Kakashi. It shows Kakashi and Zabuza, two veteran ninjutsu users fighting each other, but it also shows Sasuke and Naruto, who are two newer people at it, and Haruko is also very good at using ninjutsu. And we also get to see Naruto first use his nine tails in this. The battles itself are absolutely amazing. It's such a good fight, and there are a lot of other really good fights in Naruto, but this fight is every time I think of Naruto and every time I think of fights, this is the first one that pops in my head. There are so many, this storyline of Zabuza and Haku, even though they're the bad guys, towards the end and with that really sad ending and very somber and not exciting at all ending in like the very last parts about it and the endings to that arc, you just come to love these characters even though they're evil. You just come to love how they kind of need each other, and just so much emotion that goes into these two characters themselves. But the fight scenes are absolutely amazing when Haku creates the ice bridge, and then you get to see the first interaction with Sasuke and Naruto starting to team up and bond before the inevitable betrayal in Shippuden. And there's just so many things that this fight and this whole fight starts off and shows and introduces. And it shows a great introduction into ninjutsu from Sasuke and Naruto, but also the veterans of Kakashi, Haku, Zabuza, and how they all use it. They show everybody's style and everybody's emotion, how they use ninjutsu, what they think. And there's so many good moments in this this whole fight scene itself, and encapsulates perfectly into a amazing fight scene that is one of the best in the Naruto universe. And I think, in my opinion, even if I watch all of Shippuden, I don't know if it's gonna beat this one, and I know it's because the more it goes up, the more power scaling, the more superpowers, and it's just kind of nice to see these two, this series start off with just simple ninjutsu, simple fighting. Although I think later on there is towards the end of Shippuden, there's that one fight with Kakashi, who is my favorite character in Naruto of all time. Like, for all that I've read and all that I've seen, he's always been my favorite character. But there is a fight where he's like, there's like this super good martial arts fight in there, so I cannot wait to see that when I eventually get to it. But Zabuza versus Haku is an absolutely iconic scene and is something to be remembered, and so that is number 4.
You... What's the matter? You got behind me, didn't you? So bring it. What's wrong? You scared now? Then...
At number 3, we have All Might versus One for All, and I had to put My Hero Academia in here somewhere. And there were so many fights that you could include: Muscular versus Deku, Overhaul versus Deku, and I had to pick this one because it is such a turning point for the show. And when you think of My Hero Academia, even though Deku's the main character, All Might versus One for All, I guarantee you was probably popped into most of your guys' minds almost immediately, because this fight is so action-packed. You get to see the two most powerful characters fighting it all out, live and let die. This is everything right here, winner takes all kind of a thing. Both of them are passing on to their successors, and this is kind of the end, shows the end of their story and the start of the next story of their successors having to battle out to see who will be the supreme. So you get to see All Might's final flames burning out and using everything to protect these people, and just as one final thing to show that he is a symbol of peace. All the emotions, you get to see the epic escape sort of in between the fight of Bakugo and Deku's plan to get Bakugo out of there. Then you get to see just All Might just proving himself and showing that he still has it, and he still had he had what it takes to win that final fight and prove to everyone that he's still the symbol of peace and is still the best out there, and he just is such a fantastic character in this fight, encapsulates All Might in a perfect picture, and it shows how he was almost about to break, but then when someone looks onto him, he knows what he's supposed to do as a #1 hero, and he's able to wear that smile and do the best. And the visuals and the animation on this is on another level. It is so good. The voice acting, whether you're watching the dub or the sub, is on a amazing level. It is so well done. All the characters encapsulates. When you get encapsulates, you get to see Endeavor's look on All Might, how he thinks about him, whatever you think about All Might, or not All Might, Endeavor. You just get to see so many emotions and stuff collide in this fight itself, and it is an action-packed fight to the end, and is epic in every single second, and you can't peel your eyes away. So at number 3, it's All Might versus One for All.
君は戦い続けろ。デトロイトヒーローは
For number 2, we have Spike versus Vicious in the final episode of Cowboy Bebop. Now, Cowboy Bebop is an immensely popular show, probably, arguably probably the most popular anime of all time, I would think. Man, I don't know. My Hero Academia might be more popular at this point, just for like sheer people knowing. Probably back in the day, Cowboy Bebop was the most popular at that time. But it changed the entire anime scene when that thing came out, and it was such a fantastic anime. But Spike versus Vicious is gonna be the most iconic fight on there. Like, finally seeing that story come to an end. You could say there's a lot of other fights that are very, very good, either from the movie, and then you have throughout the entire thing. My personal favorite fight is the Cowboy. I forgot his name, but the Cowboy versus Spike, and that's my favorite battle. I love that scene. It was so cool. But Spike versus Vicious ends up wrapping up the story in such a nice way, and it's so good. Even though I didn't personally like the ending, because I wish it would have ended a little bit happier. I'm a sucker for happy endings. I'm sorry, and but it's a very good ending because it doesn't hold your hand, and you know what they say, you got to carry that weight. So it's just fantastic, that fight. And it's the best part about the fight is it doesn't really go on too long. It's just these two laying it all out. No one's both of them come in with the thing that they're gonna kill the other person, or they're gonna die trying, and take them with them. And it's just a fantastic fight through the end. And it's just all the bad things that happen with Julie, and then you see the things with like Faye and Spike's partner come in. Jet, that's his name. I was trying to stall so I could get it, but I got it. See, I can do this. I'm learning names and stuff, but it incorporates it in such a fantastic end. And whether you watch the sub or the dub, it's absolutely fantastic. Shintaro Watanabe is a fantastic director, and this fight brings Cowboy Bebop to a fantastic end, and is something that is to be remembered. Alright, for number 1, we have One Piece, Luffy versus Arlong in the Arlong Park arc, which is in the Greater East Blue arc, and you guys probably know what I'm talking about. And when I think of a fight in anime, my favorite one of all time is this one. It is one of the first fight scenes I ever, like, absolutely blew me away. I mean, Fullmetal Alchemist, I love that too, but I read that one first, but this one, when I remember a fight scene, it's always Arlong Park, and it's always this. When you have Luffy giving Nami his hat, it's so emotional, and then you have Luffy in the fight, freeing him by literally tearing down Arlong Park in this huge fight, and just Nami's freeing Nami, and the emotions that go into this fight are so good. It shows how Luffy treats his friends, what he'll go to do for his friends. The fight itself is absolutely amazing. There's so many cool powers and all this stuff, but it's not to the point where you get to see in later stuff where there's like 16 gears and just things are insane. It's not to the point where power escalation is out of this world. But Arlong Park is absolutely fantastic. I love the fight. I love the choreography. Whether you're watching the anime and the manga, the music in there, everything about it is so good. Whether you're watching the old anime, like the original anime of the Arlong Park, or while you're watching the redone one they do, no matter which one you're watching, it's fantastic in every single adaptation, and it's so good. Oda Sensei is a fantastic mangaka. He wrote, his story is so fantastic. East Blue is amazing, and Arlong Park specifically is so good. And when I think of One Piece, it's my favorite arc on the entire thing is the Arlong Park section of the East Blue. Out of everything, you could also say Crocodile is on another one that's very, very fantastic. That's what my friend said, who introduced me to anime, who hasn't read it. Again, he was talking about specifically, he talks about Arlong Park, and then he talks about the Crocodile fight and the Alabasta arc, and both those are amazing, but I have to give it to Arlong. It's so good in my opinion. I love everything about it. But yeah, that's my number 1. And anyway, guys, I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please make sure to leave a like and comment down below that if you enjoyed this. Then let me know if you guys want to see more stuff like this. I definitely enjoyed doing this. It was a little bit tricky trying to, you know, figure out how I'm gonna get around copyright, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. Live and let die. So anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I will see you in another video.